And with that, let me tell you about my favorite item I bought at the convention. And man, is it a good one. So Game Jam South will actually be the debut of my 8-scale Chrome Mario statues, and I'm so excited to see what people think about them in person. Join me as I commentate my experience of this great convention. The best part about conventions like this is getting to meet up with your other game enthusiasts and friends from around the country, like these two goofballs, Eric and Jared from Retro Gaming Pandemic. And speaking of YouTubers, my first sell of the day was with good old Caleb from Phoenix Resale. He picked up some quick selling games for his inventory that he could pay the most for. And this was the first time using his new 1UP app. And man, did it make the transaction incredibly easy. I really can't recommend it enough. After my first sale under my belt, it was time to head on over to my friend Scott Squatch, who had some great items waiting for me. So if you've never met Scott Squatch, he's an amazing guy. He's vending here at the convention alongside me, and he brought me some really cool items for me to purchase. First up is this Phantasy Star Online store display that has some nice 3D elements to it. It's never been folded, and this was a game that I really enjoyed growing up. I played it, I bought it right when it first came out, and was a great RPG addition to the Dreamcast library. And not to mention, this Skies of Arcadia never folded jumbo size game. I also bought this at launch too. And then he brought out this Mighty Final Fight, which is mint condition. I needed it for the NES set. I already have a loose copy, and so this one's going into my personal collection as well. Thank you so much, Scott. So I do still need a CIB copy of Stadium Events for my personal collection. I will eventually have one. I'm not going to jump the gun on this today, but my good friend and fellow vendor, Aleem the Dream, was kind enough to show me how nice the condition of this boxed copy was. It was missing the manual, unfortunately. But just look how nice this copy is, that box. All right, let's see what else we can pick up while other vendors are continuing to set up. Another fellow vendor, I'm sorry I forgot your name because I lost the audio to this, but hooked me up with a great deal on these 4 manuals that I needed for box copies that I already had. We have Lolo 3, Crash and the Boys, and Bases Loaded 2, as well as Bandai's Golf. He gave me a great bundle price for $30 total. Dude, thank you so much for that deal. So next up, Jake and I wandered over to this other vendor who, over the course of the weekend, we bought quite a few items from, and he's showing off a few Nintendo Powers that he brought the second day after we set up the first day. And we probably honestly bought around 50 Nintendo Powers and strategy guides from this guy. And these I all needed. I didn't have them, and I think I ended up adding maybe 15 or 20 Nintendo Powers total from him that I didn't have in my personal collection. So, dude, thank you so much for this deal. I mean, the prices were incredibly generous. Look at this mint condition Zelda Link to the Past strategy guide. Love that. So if you're not familiar with the different variants you can run into out in the wild with these black box variants, it's actually pretty important. And it's simple to check which one it is. There's no sticker seal residue here. There's a white TM on the front next to that yellow entertainment sign. There's a hang tab on the back. There's circle seal on the front. There's a corner code that says NESP-SM, as well as a bottom code that says Game Pack NESGP. That tells me this is 6th print. So this is the last version that had a hang tab. Educate yourself. There's a link in the description where WATA has a great resource. You should check it out. So another fellow vendor and friend, David, stopped by the booth, and he had a purchase he wanted to make before the convention got started, and that purchase was a Tails statue that I make that are perfect replicas of hard-to-find statues. This is Tails, the Toys R Us one. Only 60 were made of the 4.5-foot version, if you can find one. They're like 6,000 or 7,000. This is an 8th scale chrome, and he had followed my making up video and just really wanted to add one to his personal collection. So David, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate the support and coming by. And Jared from Retro Gaming Pandemic drove all the way down from Columbus, Ohio to bring me some shirts to further his game convention fun. We have a Diddy Kong Donkey Kong Country 2 long sleeve, as well as this Mario Madness single stitch shirt from 1989. Just awesome. But not only that, he had hooked me up with a friend of his who had the Splatterhouse shirt, which just happened to be the last TurboGrafx shirt that I needed for my collection. And just, man, thank you so much for that. Like, I can't thank you enough. And if you guys don't know who Jared is, check out Retro Gaming Pandemic. Their channel is great. He's the editor for Pixel Game Squad for a lot of their videos. Just awesome dude all around. With the VIP line forming and the convention about to start, my excitement was overflowing with the thought of talking to so many other video game and nostalgia enthusiasts. Almost immediately at the beginning of the convention, I had another person who follows my content come up to the booth. He immediately picked up this Mario statue that I just finished making, the 8th scale versions. It's a Best Buy Mario statue. If you can find the one that's 4.5 feet tall, it's like 7,000 or 8,000. They're really sought after. But this guy had been following my content, seeing the process of how I made it. He watched the Tails video and just really wanted to support the cause of making more of these statues. So, dude, thank you so much for that support. It really goes a long way. Brandy from Gamer Aimer was nice enough to show me these incredible jackets she brought with her. Like this Star Fox Super Weekend jacket was just amazing. None of these were for sale. I think pretty much everybody asked her that question as they passed her booth and saw these. But man, look at the condition on this. Just super amazing to see these. Of course, we have a Sega employee jacket here. Awesome. She also had the Dreamcast launch team jacket, which is just also just really cool to see. There's a Nintendo 64 employee jacket. So this jacket was by far the coolest one that she brought. The Wizard Video Games jacket is a jacket that was only given to developers of the Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre games on the Atari 2600. Even the sleeves zip off of this, like just super cool jacket. And she was telling me that like when she found this, I think on eBay, when she got it in the mail, it still had that 80s smell to it when she got it, which is, I guess, typical when you, acquire an item that hasn't been touched in literally 30 years. There was also this Play It Loud jacket, and if you're not aware of this edgy ad campaign by Nintendo, let me enlighten you. Lastly, she had these two pieces from Ozfest that where PlayStation 2 and Dreamcast were actually the sponsors of these two festivals. And not only that, she had a bunch of like weird merchandise stuff that also referenced not only Ozfest, but their sponsors, PlayStation and Dreamcast as well. So this is Ty, one of the showrunners for Game Jam South. Awesome dude. He had some really cool items in his booth. This one I just could not resist. It's a Sonic the Hedgehog original, still new with tags, pillow. And I couldn't find any information on this, so I had to pick it up. Dude, he gave me a great price. Thank you so much for this, man. That's going in the personal collection forever. Check out this incredible Super Metroid display. Unfortunately, it wasn't for sale, but man, I really just appreciate seeing this in person. pretty sure everyone who is at Game Jam knows this guy. Akash, with his signature suitcase full of games, as well as his game checklist, ready to check off those games he buys from you. And today, he bought a few games to add to his collection. He got Maximum Carnage, as well as Wario's Woods. Thanks, Akash. And with that, let me tell you about my favorite item I bought at the convention. And man, is it a good one. So this is Ellis of Retro Rewind, and he brought me these items because he watched my game room tour with Retro Wolf and knows that I'm into these. These are Sega Genesis prototypes. First we have Sagaya, which is actually Darius 2 by Taito, a great shooter on the console. But then we have Earthworm Jim, briefly a Genesis exclusive before also coming out on the Super Nintendo. If you don't know anything about prototypes, the earlier the prototype and the more significant the game, the better. Thank you so much, Ellis, for allowing me to permanently add these to my personal collection. Some honorable mentions I bought off camera would be this Atari employee hoodie from the early 80s, as well as this rare fold-out promotional coupon for the Illusion of Gaia on Super Nintendo. We also have a grade-worthy strategy guide for an incredible game, Xenogears, on the PlayStation 1, as well as this incredibly rare Mortal Kombat Issue 1 mail-away. Also have 13 CIB NES games that I picked up as well. I showed Mighty Final Fight, but the rest of them I bought off camera. And I actually have loose copies of these, other than that Garbage Pail Kids, which is actually sealed. I would like to open it and play it. So this actually brings my total of NES games in the full set to 798 out of 920 games. Leave a comment on what your favorite item I purchased was, or if you attended the convention, what was your favorite item you picked up? And also, if you're curious on how I make those Tails and Mario statues, I'll link the video here. Thank you so much for watching, and happy hunting, everyone.